Hi, welcome to Distinti's World video number 6. Today we're going to talk about the distortion of the news. Specifically, the way the news is covered causes us to waste resources and opportunities to chase after things that are actually quite rare. And let me give you an example. Okay, the news doesn't cover the thousands of flights that take off and land safely every day without a problem. Why? Because that's common. That's not newsworthy. Okay, but a single plane crash will blanket the airwaves for weeks and even months after the incident. Why? Because plane crashes are very rare. Okay, and let me give you an extension. Okay, if we want to talk about, well, maybe the old expression, if it bleeds, it leads. Well, that doesn't matter because the number of car deaths in 2010 were 33,000 deaths and 5.4 million crashes and 2.2 million injuries. So if it bled, if what bleeds leads, then this would be the dominating story on the news. But this is ignored too. Why? Not because it's rare, but because it's common. I mean, if you had something crazy like a 100-car pileup, well, that would certainly get news coverage because that's a rare kind of car crash. Okay, and so we're left with an initial conclusion that the news doesn't report what's common, the news reports what's rare. And because of that, we falsely believe, or we get the impression from the television set that what's rare is actually common when it is not. Let me give another example. Okay, the news doesn't go into detail and tell you that there are between 3,000 and 50,000 people die each year from the flu, depending on the strain. That never makes it to the news. All you're told every year is get your flu shot. However, when someone dies of West Nile virus, that's national news. But only about 200 people a year die from West Nile virus, and that gets all the news coverage because it's rare. Number 3, you don't see the news reports of the millions of cops, or maybe hundreds of thousands of cops, I don't know how many cops there are, that do their job honestly every day and honorably. But one or few bad apples that get caught beating the crap out of somebody with a nightstick that get caught on YouTube, well, that gets national news attention and investigations and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so you end up getting the false impression that police officers are thugs. And the lottery. Well, the news doesn't show you the people that spend their money in the lottery and actually go bankrupt because they actually believe they have a snowball's chance in heck of winning. Oh, but they do show you the guy that actually wins. Why? Because that's rare. And because it's all over the news, oh, this guy won the $50 million or $500 million, blah, 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 or it's a bunch of people working in a factory and they're all sharing it, blah, blah. People think they have an honest chance of actually winning, and that's actually like more news for the lottery. Guns. It's estimated that there's 2 million defensive uses of guns each year. And what is unknown is that most of those incidents do not involve the homeowner having to actually hurt or shoot the robber. And it's because it's very common, it doesn't get news coverage. Oh, but you get, and because of that, and what is known is that the murder rates in the U.S. have been declining. And because murders are becoming more and more rare, they're now garnering more and more national news attention, more than they did before. So it seemed like things are getting worse when they're actually getting better. Sports stars. Okay, the news doesn't cover the multitude of kids who bet their entire life on a professional sports career only to find that they have no usable skills after college. Oh, but the kids that actually make it get all the media attention. This gives younger kids the unrealistic hope that it is a viable career alternative. And this is from, of the almost 156,000 male high school senior basketball players, only 44 will be drafted to play in the NBA after college. That's probably still better than winning the lottery, though. Childhood cancer. About 1,500 children under the age of 15 die from cancer each year. This is the leading disease killing children. But because school shootings are very rare, they get national news attention for weeks. Thus, they get the calls for action from government, they get vigils, they get yearly remembrances, they get speeches by politicians, and they get congressional investigations. Okay, but because cancer is a very common thing, this doesn't get the coverage, and these kids are forgotten. They get no memorials, they get no vigils, they get no TV interviews, they get nothing. So what kind of news does the world present to us? Well, they present that it's safer to drive than to fly, that cops are schoolyard bullies that they give guns to, that if you're in the lottery, if you're in it, you'll win it, that the flu is no big deal, that guns only benefit the criminals or the insane, that professional sports is a realistic career option, that suburban schools are the most dangerous place to send your children. So the whole view of the world is distorted because they only cover what's rare, not what's common. Now somebody might say, well, we should pass a law to fix. No, all you have to do is be aware of it, and then you'll be a lot happier. So relax, because now you know that if horrific events get national news attention, it's because it's rare, not because it's common. I mean, a news event would be if the news actually got the weather right. That would be a news event. Okay, but the problem with this distortion, other than the false view that it gives us, is that it may cause us to waste resources and effort on smaller issues while ignoring larger problems. And the worst thing is when people become blindly passionate about issues. For example, let's talk about the death of children. That's something people are very passionate about. Let's say you had event A that kills 1,000 children a year. Okay, because it's common, it doesn't get news coverage. But now you have event B that kills 20 children every year. But because this is pretty rare, this gets national news coverage. Okay, then you get someone's going to give you funding to solve problems. Say, what are you going to do? Well, you only have a limited number of funds. So you're going to say, let's be cost effective. And then you get a passionate person that says, how dare you place a price on the life of a child? And then the political leaders will always back down and acquiesce to the mob when these passionate arguments come up. And Ben Franklin said, when passion governs, it governs hardly ever wisely. And so what we do, we don't optimize lives saved per dollar spent, which would be being cost effective. And so the result, an outcome, is we have legislation that treats that the lives of children have no value because we're spending money on the smaller issue instead of the larger issue. And so the amount of lives saved per dollar spent is not what it could be. Okay, and so if you legislate under the auspice that the lives of children are priceless, you end up with the results wherein the lives of children are worthless. Okay, but I just should be worry more because it's the stuff that does not get national news attention, the common stuff that you should be really worried about. For example, political corruption. I hardly ever see it on the news, so it must be common. Aging. That is like the worst crime against humanity. That's the topic of the next video. Thank you. Donate if you can. Give me thumbs up if you like this. Subscribe. You'll get all the videos as they come out. Thank you very much.